And on our breaking news out of New Orleans now, the FBI says it believes the Army veteran from Texas who intentionally rammed a truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street acted alone. They say 3 phones and 2 laptops linked to the driver have been found, and that FBI bomb technicians recovered 2 improvised explosive devices in the Bourbon Street area. And this is coming as we're getting some new surveillance video of the attack. It shows a harrowing moment here. Just before you see there are people barely getting out of the way of the truck. It's unbelievable, and so thankful that they were able to get out of the way as that truck sped through the French Quarter. CNN anchor Anderson Cooper is live on the scene in New Orleans. Anderson, what more details are you learning at this hour?
Yeah, well, we have CNN has exclusively obtained actually video of the terror attacker. This I want to show you. This is taken from a doorbell cam of on a street where the attacker, you see there off to the right with the vehicle that he used in the attack. That is him arriving at and entering an Airbnb that he had rented about 2 miles from the Bourbon Street location. Where he, according to law enforcement, conducted this terror attack. That is the vehicle that we know came. He was rented in Houston. He rented it on December 30th. The FBI said today at a press conference they had several hours ago. He then drove it New Year's Eve, and while driving, made about 5 videos in which he spoke to camera. According to the FBI, they recounted a little bit about what he said. He said that he had, they were showing the timeline. He rented the truck, drove it to Houston between 1 and 2 a.m. He's seen now on videos planting explosive devices. 2 explosive devices, according to the FBI, were found about in the area of the French Quarter. That initially they had thought maybe other people had planted. They have confirmed today. They said at this point they believe no one else was involved in the attack here in Bourbon Street on the ground, actually planting those explosive devices. They were both those devices were found and detonated safely. That is a picture of the actual vehicle, and you see it. It's the same vehicle that's in that security camera. This is after the attack. What you're not seeing there is that there's actually a person on the right-hand side, lower right-hand side of the screen, which we're not showing, a person who was injured. And, we are still now learning a lot more about those whose lives were lost, about the people who were wounded. 14 people now confirmed dead, as many as 35 sustained injuries. A number of them are still in the hospital. I want to play some of, let you hear from the FBI agent in charge of this operation, some of what they have found from the phones and laptops that they have obtained.
Hundreds of interviews that we've conducted so far, the social media review that we've done of his accounts, by my count now, the 5 devices we have, the 3 cell phones and the 2 laptops, been able to initially triage or go through that, and there is just nothing to indicate through call records, through anything on those devices, through interviews, through anything in our systems that he was aided in this attack by anybody. And again, I have to caveat, like the governor said, this is 24 hours into it, and that could change.
So that was the press conference the FBI gave about 2 hours ago or so. They are still eager for any information that anybody has out there about this person. They are trying to build a timeline of the radicalization of this person, the disintegration of this person. According to family members, he had started to be erratic. And according to the FBI, Brianna, he had pledged allegiance or joined to, if one can actually join in some physical way, ISIS, or at least pledged allegiance earlier before the summer.
And Anderson, what a different scene behind you now. I'm just struck by that. There are so many people. There's just the din of the French Quarter with the reopening.
Yeah, it's interesting. About an hour ago, an hour and a half ago, a first-line band came down the street with city officials playing music. We ran out and watched it. It was actually a very moving scene, this extraordinary band playing music. The officials in the city wanted first to open Bourbon Street to religious leaders. So they've also had a lot of preachers here doing prayer circles. We've seen saying prayers and also music, which obviously is such a key part of New Orleans. Then they closed the street down a little bit. It's all cleaned up, and now they've opened it to the public. And as you see, it's not obviously incredibly crowded, but there are dozens and dozens of people wandering, walking up and down, just wanting to come here. Businesses have opened, the bars have opened. There's some music playing in a couple of bars down the street. The frozen drinks that are like purple and pink, they are in the slushy machines going around. So it is very important for city officials. I talked to the superintendent of police just a short time ago. We ran into her on the street to get this street back up and running, not from a business standpoint so much as just a statement about this city and the spirit of this city and the desire to have the city not be, on bended knee. This city has gone through so much with Katrina. I was here, it's crazy, Brianna, I was here almost 20 years ago when Bourbon Street first reopened after Hurricane Katrina. I remember it. City officials walked down the street, making it the official opening of it, and I remember the first bar that opened. So it's very strange to be back here 19 years later and see Bourbon Street once again reopening after a tragedy.
Yeah, wanting to come back from a tragedy. And we heard that from people at the Superdome as they're getting ready for the Sugar Bowl. They don't want to let terrorism win here. They're dedicated to showing up for the game as well. Anderson, thank you so much for sharing that with us. We do appreciate it live there in the French Quarter.